The story unfolds as the terrorists try desperately to escape, but the guards arrive just in time. They declare that everyone is under arrest for being accomplices of the terrorists. One of the guards points his sword at them, warning that their skills are no match for his weapon. Suddenly, a voice interrupts, expressing contempt for hearing inferior beings speaking arrogantly. The guard demands the hidden person to come out, but instead, the being casts a curse on the guards, petrifying them. Finally, the hidden person, revealed as Zalvades, shows up. The monsters are puzzled by his identity. Zalvades, using his magical powers, forces everyone to kneel and introduces himself as the Demon King, the true ruler of the world. He reveals that the human stone curse on the guards will disappear soon. To ensure a place to live, Zalvades suggests that the monsters become his subordinates. The remnants of the Alpha Wolves Alliance submit to Zalvades, and he proclaims them as the shadows of the Demon King. Zalvades uses his magic to create an underground labyrinth. He explains that humans can't see the entrance to this room and instructs them to use it as a temporary headquarters. He orders the monsters to stop fighting for now but be ready for resistance against the Empire. In the middle of his explanation, Zalvades receives a call from Riselia and decides to return. The scene shifts to Riselia, who is in her room, thinking about something Leonis mentioned regarding nocturnal animals. He told her that these creatures tend to gather around vampires. Wondering how to deal with this, Riselia decides to check on Leonis. As she opens her room door, she encounters Sherry. When Riselia tries to rub her eyes, Sherry takes the chance to dodge her. Undeterred, Riselia decides to take a shower first before looking for Leonis. Finally, Leonis shows up, commenting on Riselia being possessive and inconvenient. He mentions how her reputation almost ruined his image as an evil demon king. Despite this, Leonis is satisfied that he managed to control the radical survivors. Having them under his possession means the Demon King can use them to rebuild his demonic army. We then see Leonis head to Riselia's room, but he accidentally catches her changing. Quickly turning his back, Regina appears and asks if she's interrupting. They both deny it. The scene shifts to the cafeteria, where Riselia advises Leonis to eat vegetables for health. He promises to eat them later, but wonders if Riselia wants his blood to thin for easier sucking. A giant crow flies by the window, and Regina suggests finishing off the monsters. Riselia disagrees, finding the birds cute. Regina explains that their dormitory is considered haunted due to rumors of a ghost girl and a giant black dog. Riselia mentions seeing a girl in her dorm wearing a maid's outfit, cleaning Leonis's room. The boy dismisses it, suggesting Riselia might be seeing things. She asks him about his morning, and he reveals he was solo training for an upcoming practice match. Regina praises his motivation, and he mentions wanting to do his best for Riselia, who has always helped him. Meanwhile, Elfine tells the group that two attackers are coming from different directions. The grass explains that they need to defend the flags carefully, and from a distance so that melee fighters can move to the center and act as a distraction. This distraction allows the platoon leader to capture the flags. However, the counselor warns that if this strategy fails, they'll have serious problems. Riselia is then attacked by one of the stone wolves, but Fenris appears, expecting their presence. Riselia complains about the pain caused by Fenris's attack. Fenris explains that she adjusted her techniques according to combat rules. Riselia questions why Fenris, a platoon leader, is protecting a small flag. Fenris clarifies that she's being accountable to Riselia. Riselia interprets this positively, thinking it gives Sakuya time to advance for the main flag. However, Fenris knows Riselia's thoughts and explains that Sakuya struggles with enemies using stealth approaches. She mentions her frost wolves supporting Sakuya. Fenris reveals that she's already sent 2 people after Riselia's main flag, and Elfine and Regina will be overwhelmed fighting 2 opponents simultaneously. Leonis realizes Fenris is very intelligent. Fenris declares that if she defeats Riselia, her squad will win. She transforms her sacred sword into 2 weapons and leaves Riselia in charge of fighting. Fenris attacks Riselia, who questions if anyone is protecting her main flag. Fenris remains silent, and Riselia explains that if there's no one protecting the flag, she just needs to defeat it for her team to win. However, Fenris turns her wolves against Riselia, telling her not to talk nonsense. Meanwhile, Leonis defeats his opponent. Riselia, determined, frees herself from the stone wolves and defeats Fenris. Watching Riselia's performance, Leonis acknowledges her as his right-hand familiar. Gylian suggests Fenris could have won if she went straight for the main flag, but DeGrasse comments that the one-on-one fight is worth watching. She agrees that both platoons are naive in battlefield strategy. Baldur deduces that this naivety attracts a lot of people's attention. The scene shifts, and Riselia guides Leonis to take a shower. Leonis insists he can do it alone. but Elfine reassures him, explaining that the school allows children under 10 to bathe with their guardians. They decide to take a shower together. Regina playfully asks Leonis to check if Sakuya's breasts have grown, making him blush and look away. They return to discussing the fight, and despite the happiness of winning, Riselia points out that if Fenris hadn't been fixated on her, they might have lost. Sakuya apologizes to the girls, admitting she fell for the enemy's trap easily. Elfine reminds Sakuya that she defeated the enemy aiming for their main flag. Riselia encourages Sakuya, saying she just needs more battlefield experience to grow stronger. To celebrate their squad's progress, the girls hold hands, and Leonis joins in, although still very shy. We then see a guy named Nephax, revealed to be a Void Lord. He feeds a blue crystal with both demonic and holy swords. Nephax acknowledges the good job done by sharing, but is still curious about who defeated her. He then continues to place swords into a blue crystal, explaining that the time for the awakening of a prophesied goddess is approaching. The narrative then shifts to a ship tearing apart space and emerging on the ocean. Now, we return to the Riselia squad discussing recent events. Today, at a surveillance base located 1,000 kilometers to the northwest, an image was sent. DeGrasse informs them that they've already dispatched a drone to track any sign of a stampede quickly. Upon seeing the region, Riselia feels a sense of familiarity. DeGrasse explains that it's the 3rd Assault Garden, which disappeared 6 years ago into Void territory. Leonis notices that it is Riselia and Regina's hometown that was destroyed. Regina explains that the target is moving towards them automatically at a speed of 6 kilometers per hour, with its power plant previously shut down but mysteriously reactivated. Elfine calculates that if it continues like this, the 3rd Assault Garden will collide with them in 7 days. The inspector informs them about emergency signals, suggesting possible survivors at the site. However, DeGrasse notes it could also be engine damage. The drone cannot gather more information, leading DeGrasse to assign Riselia and her squad to investigate the city. The mission involves searching for survivors and investigating the source of those signals. DeGrasse also asks them to try to stop the movement of the city, but they have only 72 hours to accomplish this. Exceeding this time frame would hinder the 7th Assault Garden from avoiding the city. DeGrasse emphasizes that if they encounter the Void, their only option is to fight to protect themselves, aiming to prevent a large-scale Void disaster. Elfine questions why this specific mission was given to them. Regress explains that this was the idea of the management agency. The girl questions whether this has anything to do with Riselia, considering she is a survivor of the 3rd Assault Garden and the daughter of the late Duke. Upon hearing this, Leonis understands that humanity sees her as a hero, recalling similar treatment when he was worshipped as a hero. DeGrasse doesn't deny the possibility that Riselia's platoon was handpicked, but she believes they are indeed very strong. Riselia states that her entire squad will do their best to meet expectations. However, when the inspector asks Leonis to stay out of the mission due to his newcomer status, he disputes this, expressing his determination to help. Seeing his resolve, Riselia decides to let him join, assuring that she will protect him. Regress informs them that they will leave tomorrow morning. But first, she instructs them to undergo a physical exam. The next day, Leonis talks to his servants, mentioning something strange he noticed. He saw the flag of the sacred cult in a deserted city far away. He decides that he needs to investigate who is behind it. Blackies is put in charge of protecting the kingdom while he's away. As for Sherry, he asks her to come with him. During this, Leonis notices something odd about Blackies. His servant explains that the bow tie was given by a girl swordsman. Wearing it means he won't be considered a stray dog and can move around the dorm normally. They finally leave the kingdom, and on the way, DeGrasse informs them that they can sleep until they reach their destination. Regina offers her lap for Leonis to sleep, thinking he's tired from waking up early. However, Riselia enters their conversation, stating that Leonis should sleep on her lap because she is his guardian. Despite Leonis insisting he's fine, Regina takes out an earpick, insisting it's the perfect time to clean his ear. She then forcefully puts Leonis to sleep. In a flashback from 1,000 years ago, Riselia comments to the Demon King about time running out between them. The Demon King regrets this, considering their kingdom had just been created. Riselia explains that after disappearing, she will reincarnate from now on every 1,000 years. Riselia questions whether he will look for her in the future. The Demon King promises to find her, even if he has to travel to the end of the world, as he is a demon lord and always keeps his promises. Riselia asks him to promise one more thing: to end her life if she is not herself and is in a different form. As they are about to land at their destination, stepping into the city, Riselia explains that she will go with Leonis to the central garden to check. The others are tasked with finding the source of the emergency signal. Elfine mentions they will start looking for the food production center. To stay connected, she leaves one of her sacred swords with Riselia and Leonis. On the way to the central garden, Leonis instructs Sherry to accompany the three girls. Sherry is disappointed, thinking she would be assigned to protect him. However, the Demon King denies protection, emphasizing his power. Suddenly, Riselia recognizes the place, pointing to where establishments used to be. But everything has disappeared. She blames herself for just praying while her city was destroyed. Leonis reassures her that she is not to blame. Suddenly, they are attacked by a void, and Riselia ends up trapped in the rubble. This brings an end to our episode.